Good morning, friends. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and I'm joined here by an accumulation of individuals that are involved in today's announcement, which is one of those moments in Westchester County that we're very proud of, where we make a significant improvement in our park system by restoring something that we had, which had fallen out of service, and now we're going to bring back to life. It's the same keeping by which we reestablished the Spring Ridge pools and fixed the Miller House and renovated the North County Trailways. And today here at Croton Gorge Park, we're going to be putting back into service a beautiful fountain. And we want to thank those who've raised these issues for us and give us an opportunity to add back something so the people of Westchester County can enjoy this. This is obviously a very beautiful day. I take no credit for it, but I think the Westchester County Board of Legislators does. So let me reference Vedad Gashi, who's the legislator that represents this area. Catherine Borgia and Colin Smith also represent areas nearby, and we're very appreciative of the Board of Legislators for their role in all of this. We're also joined by J. Henry Neal, who is the chair of our Parks Board. And Henry, who I've known for a long time, has been a very active chair on the Parks Board. He has been to every one of these parks, and he has advocated for improvements that help us look forward, along with the Westchester Parks Foundation. And in a few minutes, you're going to hear from our Commissioner of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, Kathy O'Connor, who has supervised this tremendous system of 55 parks. We also will hear in a few seconds from Commissioner Vinnie Sapienza from New York City Department of Environmental Protection, and we're very appreciative of the role of both the agency and Commissioner Sapienza for their role in all of this. And then I'm going to turn on the fountain using this device that will turn on the fountain, or at least cause the fountain to be turned on. We'll put it that way. Try to be as honest as we can. The New York City Department of Environmental Protection, New York City DEP, actually owns this beautiful dam behind us. We've had a tremendous increase in visitors to all of our parks in 2020 because of the pandemic. This particular park saw a record number of visitors to the point where we had to regulate parking. As you can see, the amount of parking spaces that are here, it should be ample for, an average turnout. We have some parking in the back, but we had parking along this route and then all along 129 up at the top of the hill. People came by to see this beautiful site. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that this is one more element of what you have in Westchester County that is a gift that we've been given from our parents and our grandparents. And our job as stewards is to maintain it, to revivify it, and to put it back into service. This is a 97-acre park here at the base of the Croton Dam, and you have beautiful views of the dam, the spillway. The new Croton Dam and fountain were built in 1906, and the fountain was constructed by the New York City DEP when the dam was constructed, and it went with the land when it became a county park in the 1960s. So the land itself is the park. The dam is still owned by the DEP. DEP has made major repairs to the dam, but this is the first time it's going to be advanced this way in a decade. And of course, what we're looking at is both practical for tourist purposes, but it's also symbolic. Water is what gives us life, and the flow of water is like the flow of time. And those of us who come to these parks as young children grow into old men and women and pass on that experience to young children of that day. And as I said already in this comment, I think it's very important to understand who we are in public office. We are not the owners and the managers and the rulers of these things. We are the steward of these things. These things will exist long after individual terms of office are over, when all of us are in retirement, and when all of us pass on. And that these gifts are something that our children and our grandchildren will enjoy in the years to come. That's why we invest in the parks. That's why we invest in other physical assets. That's why we don't treat them cavalierly. That's why we don't get short-term budgetary benefit by shutting them down, and we don't sell them off. We make sure that we protect them and we secure them for the years to come. With that, I'd like to bring on first our Commissioner of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, Kathy O'Connor. She and I are going to see each other in, I think, 2 more settings before 2 o'clock at 2 other county parks. And the activity of what's happening in the park system is tremendous. And, of course, as we come into Memorial Day weekend, she may be the hardest working man in the show. Commissioner.
Thank you. Well, with that kind of introduction, how could I ever lose? And I have to say it is an absolute pleasure to work with a county executive like George Latimer, and I'm not just saying that because he just said what he said about me. He is a true supporter of the Parks Department and a true friend, and he puts his money where his mouth is, and this is another example of this is a simple fix that we didn't even really consider a few years ago. A lot of things were happening. The dam was being worked on. But through the efforts of, and the county executive mentioned Henry Neal, I have to say Henry, who is the chairman of the Parks Board, Henry and his friend Sarah were actually on top of the dam a few months ago. And of course, Henry is a pit bull when he wants to be. And he called me immediately and said, "Why is that fountain not on?" So, of course, I did a humana, and I did find out why. And then I worked with Dave DeLucia, who is our park facility man and also a bike rider, and he knows this facility inside and out. And together, with the county executive, with the Board of Legislators, and with my staff, and, of course, with the New York City DEP, put our heads together, and it's going to go on. So we are so excited. This is another beautiful facility. It's lovely right now. If you come on Saturday and Sunday or a holiday, it is packed. And so our staff is working really, really hard to keep it clean, green, and growing. And I'd like to just say thank you. Our Parks Director, Joe Simoncini, is here. He oversees a lot of our big active parks. The Superintendent is Ronnie Anderson, who is awesome to work with, and his right-hand man is Doug Falcone, who's over there looking like a bodyguard. Collectively, they do a wonderful job. There's a lot of work that goes here. We do have bathroom facilities, plus porta sands, garbage, etc., cutting the grass, weed whacking, and now the fountain. So we're very excited to be able to turn it on, and we're looking forward to having it on in a few minutes. It will be on continuously until the fall. We turn all water off by the end of October. So come back and enjoy it. Henry, thank you for your work with us, and Sarah, too, for being the eyes many months ago. And look what happened. It should all work like this. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to just recognize that in addition to Henry Neal, who serves as chair of the Parks Board, a longtime friend and a great public servant to Westchester County, Marty Rogowski, has also agreed to serve on the Parks Board, just recently appointed. Marty is a former member of the county legislature. We were colleagues for a number of years. He served as the majority leader of the Board of Legislators and in his own right been very active in a host of different areas. And now we have the benefit of Marty's wisdom and advice along with Henry on the park. So, Marty, thank you for taking on that responsibility with Henry. We appreciate it. Next, I'm going to ask Commissioner Vinnie Sapienza to join us and say a few words. I think there's a very important symbolism here in the New York City DEP owning a facility and Westchester County owning a facility and working in coordination. There's a lot of narrative out there on other issues which pit the city against the suburbs. And certainly, if you talk to some people who live in the suburbs, not just Westchester, but other suburbs, they look at New York City in a certain light. And people who live in the city look at the suburbs in a certain light. It's not always flattering. And there's always this perception, I think, that somehow the suburbs and the city are at counterpoint with each other, that our mission is to somehow get something out of the other that the other one has. The wisdom of having New York City control the drinking watershed, which can at times frustrate counties outside of New York City, gives New York City the best water system in the nation, and that allowed New York City to grow as the metropolis that it is. That plus the Erie Canal and the Hudson River, if you know anything about American history. And the strength and the success of New York City is absolutely critical to the strength of Westchester County. And to the extent that you may not hear that out of a suburban county executive, that the strength and the success of New York City is critical to the strength of our suburban county. We have many things in common. We have transportation routes in common. Tourism is in common. But in this particular case, what New York City has done in protecting the drinking watershed has been essential to help Westchester County as well. So Commissioner Vinnie Sapienza, please share some of your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, County Exec Latimer and Commissioner O'Connor and the team. Yeah, just first I want to thank the county executive. Over the last few years, we've done so many water supply projects together, and his leadership and his thoughtfulness has really helped push a lot of stuff forward. So, just I want to echo some of the things that you heard already. The I guess the dedication and the work that we've done together, New York City and Westchester, goes back to 1842. When the first Croton aqueduct was built. The county exec mentioned the dam going back to the early 20th century. When that went into service, it was actually the largest dam in the world at that time. But we've been attached to the hip for a long time, and as you've heard, it allowed the whole region to grow. Having that water supply system to provide water to allow residential growth and business industry really helped us all. The other thing you heard about is open space, and the county exec mentioned that this park here had seen a large growth in visitation over the last year due to the pandemic. We've seen the same at our watershed parks, and so I think, again, it's important that we look at not only water supply issues but open space issues. They go hand in hand together. So, want to thank everybody. Looking forward to starting that fountain, and again, the fountain just is a testament to our collaboration on things. It's New York City water going through a Westchester Parks fountain. So, again, appreciate everyone's dedication to getting this done. Thank you all.
So next up is the turning on of the fountain, symbolically and actually. And again, we want to thank that those who made this possible by doing the physical work necessary to make sure that this fountain could flow again. And I just want one final closing comment. The visual of the fountain starting up is probably what will make the story interesting. Everything else is sort of general words. But I had a friend of mine ask me, a person not involved in government, 3.5 years into this term, what do you think your legacy is going to be? And I said, I don't think there's a legacy. I think that's a misnomer. We don't remember the names of the people who were in positions of authority when many of the great decisions were made that led us to where we are today. I said that when we were down opening up Bicycle Sunday just south of the county center. You think of the county center, the Bronx River Parkway, Playland, a number of other. We don't know the names of the people that made the decisions to make those things happen. What we do know is those were wise decisions. And the creation of the dam and the park for people to enjoy was a wise decision. So what really is the situation here? It's not about legacy. It's about keeping the faith, that we kept the faith, we believed in the things that the people before us believed in, the public access to public facilities so people can enjoy it. Some folks might be able to enjoy certain things because of their own wealth and success, but everybody should be able to enjoy a park. Everybody should be able to enjoy a beautiful view. And we are trying our best in this term to keep the faith of the people that were before us. So with that, we'll turn on the fountain, I hope. Thank you, guys.